Well, today is October 18, 2025. It is the Filipino American History Month in all of the U.S. states, and also giving back an honor to our roots in the Philippines. It is the Indigenous Peoples Month celebration in the Philippines. This is Josephine Arjo Carino Turner of ACT International Consulting LLC for another Leadership Speakers Series. It's an exciting day. As always, I'm going to start sharing my screen on what is this Leadership Speaker Series is all about. Hope my screen works. Oh, I was not able to make an edit for this one, but the speaker for today is originally from the Philippines, but is now based in the USA. But that connectivity, I'm still having this connectivity because she is originally from the Philippines, but she's now living in the USA. But we still have that connectivity, right? So the purpose of this ACT Leadership Speaker Series is really highlighting accomplished leaders who are driving community development and people empowerment through monthly interviews. This year-long initiative aims to inspire action, share best practices, and equip audiences with practical insights to foster collaboration and create meaningful impact. Hope you can learn from each of the speaker. That's why I have a featured speaker for the month. Objectives: inspire, take action, highlight best practices and foster collaboration, empower communities, and of course, celebrate our leadership. So for this month of October, I am so much honored to know this person virtually, not yet met in person, but it doesn't hinder us to do something great. And her name is Chiara Cox. She is a multidisciplinary artist, an educator, cultural leader, and also based in South Carolina. For today, our topics focus about empowerment through heritage, cultural diplomacy, and creative leadership, stories that inspire the future with Miss Chiara Cox. So without much ado, I wanted to let Miss Chiara share more about herself first. I wanted to stop share screen for now so that she can share to her who she is, what is her journey like, how did she transition into becoming a multidisciplinary artist, an educator, and cultural leader, what her background is. So, Miss Chiara, welcome so much to the ACT International Consulting Leadership Speaker Series.
Arjo, first of all, I just wanted to thank you for having me today. It is an honor to be your friend, to know what you do, and to be here to talk about what we both love, which is Filipino culture. So when I was growing up, my formative years were in Hong Kong. So I grew up a lot in Hong Kong, and I went to a German-Swiss international school. So I was never really interested in Filipino culture. I didn't really identify as being Filipino. I had a very international sensibility, even when I went back to the Philippines. So I thought, I'm international. I don't need to know about my Filipino roots. But when my grandmother died in 2019, that rock to the Philippines was suddenly gone. So that's when I started yearning for my Filipino community. The Filipinos have a different touch, the embrace, the warmth, the smile, their sense of kapwa, which is a very big deal today in the Filipino community. Living in South Carolina, I was not in touch with the Filipino community there. So when I started grieving, I started looking for ways to get me out of it. And one of the most important ways was to sing Filipino songs. So I know I have that picture with you with that where I'm reaching for the star. That was really the start of my journey, because that's when my grandmother died. I started reaching for something Filipino, and that was through music. So in doing that, my grief was abated, and I was able to meet Maestro Michael Dadap, and Maestra Evelyn Mandac. So that's the next slide. So they're my mentors, and they really helped me hone um, and focus on why I wanted to search for my Filipino soul. So Maestra Evelyn Mandac on the left, she's the legendary Filipina soprano who broke opera glass ceilings. And on the right, you see Mr. Maestro Dadap. He's a conductor, composer, classical Filipino guitarist, but also one of the world's experts on Filipino music. So through their mentorship, I was able to really learn proper technique and also interpretation for Filipino songs. So my journey started as a singer of Filipino music, and as you can see from the next slides, I try to sing Ilonggo, Tagalog, Ilocano, Visayan songs. And then Huling Pagsamo, this is the first kundiman Michael Dadap wrote at a time when in the 1970s where he wanted Filipinos to sort of come together and understand why is it important to be Filipino and what it means to be a nationalist, I guess. So I thought that was very important for me to document his kundiman.
Awesome. My goodness, these are beautiful dahil sa'yo.
Yeah, so I try to incorporate, I love costumes. I love dress. So I incorporate fashion with my backgrounds in hopes to enhance the video impact, I guess, on the audiences on YouTube. Yeah.
This background looks very, very like medieval and or what is this? Oh, like in the olden days. Where
Yes.
was this?
This was in the 1800s. So it
1800s.
it moved from Spanish hands to an American military. I think his name was Lawson. So it's known as the Lawson House, and it was overlooking the Pasay River.
So this was in the
In the
Philippines.
Philippines, yeah. Also, yeah,
Wow.
I try to incorporate definitely Filipino dress and Filipino background.
Very, this looks like a whole lot of the design of this was from the Blaan embroidery.
Really, that is, yeah, it's a Mindanao uh
Um,
textile, yes.
embroidery. The
Yes.
embroidery, the cloth is of course modern, but the embroidery is very distinctive from the Blaan
Mindanao,
indigenous
yes.
group that I am part of. And that is really like the contrast is just amazing. So as you said, you also do
Yeah,
Ilocano.
Ilocano,
Yeah,
yes.
my father has an Ilocano lineage, but we don't know anything really much about Ilocano because we grew up in Mindanao. But this is awesome. This is awesome. So you can at least speak the language of the song.
Yeah, I can pronounce it and sing it. So basically what I want to do is because of my background, I'm an art history major.
Mm.
So from that standpoint, I love art. I love imagery. So that's what I incorporate in my music videos to try to um, connect with other people, I guess, who want to learn about Filipino music.
Awesome. Fantastic.
And
And
so this is a bandurlin. It's not a bandurria, but
mhm.
Michael Dadap created this instrument. Actually, it's a mix of bandurria, but with the tessitura or the range of a violin. So I'm learning this instrument from Maestro Dadap, and I'm trying to learn Filipino songs with the bandurlin. So together with Kay, we founded the Rondalia of the Carolinas. So right now, because of life changes, we're concentrating on our YouTube music, but we're starting to learn a couple of songs with the help of Maestro Dada.
Awesome. My goodness. This is really like, bridging your creative sense as a means of empowerment and also connecting across cultural communities. That is fantastic. And again, here's another one that you've just like shared. And this one, First Music Arts
Yeah,
Ambassador of the
so
Philippines.
so like I said, I didn't have a Filipino community, but after I explored Filipino music, I started to introduce myself to the Filipino American community in South Carolina. And the Filipino American Association of Greater Columbia has been very kind to me. They've welcomed me with open arms and made me their first music and arts ambassador. So in that capacity, I was able to work with Ellen Callahan, who's been very instrumental, because what I do is I attract world-renowned Filipino artists, musicians, scholars to South Carolina. And what Fagsy and Ellen Callahan are able to do is to get grants and funding to make those events possible.
And you are a big piece of that puzzle. So you have a group, an organization, but you got the connection and the skill and the passion to connect people. And I guess we'll be seeing one of those later on.
Yeah,
And
so
this
this
is
is
about, yeah.
yeah, this is me telling the local news channel about why we celebrate Filipino American History Month in the
Awesome.
United States. Yeah.
Yes, awesome. Getting it to mainstream and sharing our
Yes.
Filipino culture and it in all of its diversity. So this is really like cultural ambassador in action right here because they would not have the opportunity to really touch it and or even have the feel of it. Later on, we're gonna talk about that on how you've engaged me because of this kind of passion that you do. And here is the photo with the Filipino American Greater Association of Greater Colombia. How is this group coming up to make the Filipino American community being seen beyond our profession,
Well,
beyond
they are very active in cultural events. Not only do we do the events that I help them create, but they give back to the community in terms of um, yeah, everything to do from charitable events to
Mhm.
cultural events with dances. They go to schools, they go to other organizations. They're very active in Colombia for sure.
Awesome. Perfect. And speaking of engaging scholars, as you said earlier, this is a person that is the one who connected us virtually through Facebook. I remember the time when Ma'am Marian said, Arjo, I need you to meet and or collaborate, or Chiara, I need you to meet Arjo. She's based in Atlanta and the thing. And then we just get connected in Facebook and we took off from there. So Ma'am Marian, I've known her since 2006, 2007, before I came here to the USA. And I was working then in Sarangani province. I've only known her through her book, Sinaunang Habi, which I actually have right here. Which I actually have right here. This is Ma Marian's book, Sinaunang Habi. And this is very instrumental for us when I was working in Sarangani province. I was in a tourism master planning that time. And then our provincial health officer, Arjo, there is a guest right here from Manila that would wanted to visit the Indigenous people's community. And I was then the Indigenous Peoples Development Program Manager. So I have to meet her very briefly, but because I could not get out, I have to coordinate to my team back in the province that they have to meet Miss Marian Pasaroses, arrange a meeting with the provincial administrator at that same day, and have her go and visit the community. And in less than few hours, all of this coordination and the communication technology using cell phone, using text, she was able to visit the community on that same day. Greg there, and in that tiny village of Lamlifo in the Taltampal, Sarangani province, she saw her book. One of her books was entrusted to the community by my friend, a fashion designer, Emmy Ingles. He is also with the Davao Fashion Design Council and a professor at the Philippine Women's College. He let the community use his book so that from Ma'am Marian, so that they will be inspired that they have a we blonde have a beautiful weaving culture. And Mom Marian met this community and community members, and she was teary-eyed to see her book.
It's
What in
a
a million,
beautiful book.
what in a million times you will be going to a community that you know nothing about, and then found your book that they are holding on and trying to learn something. So Mom Marian is very instrumental to our advocacy in Sarangani province, the development that work that we are doing, and even helping us with not just like with one Gamaba Gawad sa Manili Kanang Bayan awardee, but we have two from those people that she also have seen, and because of the work and the authenticity of their skills. So you mentioned earlier about engaging scholars. So this is Ma'am Marian. So how did you both came to know each other?
Um, Actually, my mother connected us because
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to have a Filipino textile speaker in South Carolina in conjunction with the textile exhibit that I was having. So she was very instrumental. Actually, I wanted to say something about her book. She said that it's been 30 years since she wrote it. And suddenly, when I met her when she came to South Carolina, she said, suddenly it's been selling again. And what I find very interesting is it's not really selling in the Philippines, but the Filipino diaspora in the Middle East, in the USA, in the UK, they're the ones buying the book today
I
because
am
I
the
think there
one
is,
of those. I'm
yeah,
telling you, I'm one of those. I have bought how many and I have gifted it to friends. I bought them and via Amazon. They are very expensive already. I know I'm one of those because she said, "Oh my God, I just like Mama Marian, I found a book again and it is available. I bought it, I gave it to somebody else, and blah blah blah." That is so true. I can vouch. I am one of those that's been hunting it online.
yeah, because I guess, just like me, what I have figured out is the Filipino diaspora, when they're growing up, they may not look at their roots, but when they're older, something happens, a life change, somebody passes away, then suddenly they wake up and they say, I need to know who I am. I need to know what my roots are. And in doing that, they strengthen it by getting information. And this is a beautiful book with beautiful pictures that definitely help them strengthen, their search for their soul, their Filipino soul.
Well, it's just a matter of time. I think that the three of us will be in the same space at the same time.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be nice.
And look at that, Mama Mariana here. And this is at the Richland Library, right?
Yeah, being interviewed by the news. Yeah, WIS. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, to me, she's like a mentor. So like moving on these other engagements that you have done. Can you talk more about this photo here at now?
Yeah, so this is one of the first events we had at the Filipino American Association of Greater Colombia. I was able to invite Maestro Dadap and Florante Aguilar. They both
Mm.
play Filipino music, and it was just so beautiful when we invited them. We had three events when they were in town. We were able to have a master class at the University of South Carolina. So we had about 50 kids in that master class, which was it was packed. The whole classroom was packed. And then we had an interactive workshop with the local Phil-Am community, and we were able to perform with them. So that's a picture of me singing Sakabukiran with them. And then they had a concert. And this was another time we had Maestro Dadap where he did solos at the Winthrop University. So I was able to invite him twice. So
My
these are the kinds of
gosh.
events that we do. And for the Filipino American community, it's very touching, and you can hear them humming all these tunes while they're watching, Maestro Dadap and Florante play on stage. So it's very meaningful.
But do you see how the impact of bridging opportunities and collaboration, and then you have a community that has the skills and strength, but they might not have the kind of connection and or collaboration that and then you've ushered that you bridge that gap.
Yes, yes.
You bridging that gap and getting connected to the people that must be like connected and beyond the surface of the usual things that we do in the community. There is greater depth of trying to understand our cultural identity beyond our dance, beyond what other people see in the festivals, in beyond what is tangible. But there are so many things that you're able to collaborate that are not intangible per se, but then you're able to feel and see the impact of what they make. Awesome, perfect. And this one, I believe this person is really like a big influence to you, and or an inspiration of how you able to use creativity as a tool for empowerment.
Yeah, so this my first project that really honed my goal in
Mm,
my cultural activities was this Evelyn Mandac lecture that I was able to do that became like a documentary. Um, what I found was when she means a lot to me as my mentor. So I
mm,
studied her life work for about 3 years and was able to get archival information, and
mm,
and and really hone in on her story as and these are some comments on YouTube on the
mm,
documentary. It was very meaningful because a lot of people who watch it tell me that they either cried or it touched them
mm,
in such a deep way. So this project really taught me what I want to do for all my other projects, which is three
mm,
things. I want to spread love and positivity. I
mm,
want to instill pride in people who watch my documentaries or any
mm,
or be in any of the events
mm,
that I produce. And third, I want them to be inspired to learn more about what I help them um, uh, I guess what I inspired to have the curiosity to learn more about the topics that I introduced them to. So, like, this is an event at the New York consulate, the Philippine consulate in New York. What I really loved about this project is I was able to screen my documentary, have a Q&A with Miss Maestra Evelyn Mandac herself,
mm,
so that they
mm,
could hear in her own voice about her life and be able to ask her personal questions, and then finally have a master class with young aspiring Filipino singers, so that they could learn from her themselves. So it was a beautiful event that was able to touch people, and it was a full house. Um, I wasn't able to be there personally, but I was able to definitely um, help create an event that I think touched a lot of people.
it's amazing because it's very you pointed out a very important part, documenting. As most of our Filipino tradition is basically oral, it's very important that we have to document it and store it, archive it, and use it for the current generations and or the future generations. And this is really truly a creative leadership in action that you are sharing, to humanity. And I believe that you also maintain your YouTube channel, your website, that you also share your work and or the collaborations that you have done over the years. So this is very meaningful, and having a mentor and also engaging that mentor to an international event and sharing it beyond the comfort zone of our Filipino American community has even made it very, very more meaningful. And these are really great comments and or reflections from different people who were able to be engaged in some of the events that you've done. And again, yeah.
Yeah, Arjo, I just wanted to say when I was younger, and let's say I had to read The Great Gatsby at school, the word Filipino in some novels equate with domestic helper. So
Mm,
for me, it's very important to uplift the term Filipino. There's so much more to being Filipino
yes.
than a domestic helper. And I think my projects aim to find the excellence in Filipino people and share that with the world, because not only are we domestic helpers, we are nurses, we are teachers, we're opera singers,
Mm,
we're doctors, so much more. And a lot of the work that Filipinos do is to support the community wherever they are. And I think the community needs to know that we're so much more than what we have
what
been.
yeah, yeah.
And
There's, yeah,
like a
stereotypes is
stereotype.
part. Yeah,
Yes.
stereotypes is really part of the community, especially for migrants or immigrants in that part of context. And you are only like grouped based on the professions that they know. But we are more than that. We are a people with richness of culture that we are now contributing to our next generation here in the USA, and also using that as our soft power to
Yes.
leverage what Philippines is like and Filipino culture, and not only the Philippines, but the diversity that we bring. You are that cultural diverse. I am myself a culturally diverse. But when we put our stories together, it really sparks this community empowerment beyond what we only see as you are only this and you are only that, so I am so much with you, and I think that's why we click so much, because of that common thread and common passion that we don't need to be told on what to do. We are taking proactive action in our own capacity, using our own resources, using our own collections to share, help, and advocate for people who does not have the voice here in this community, and or might not be even unseen. So you are putting that part of the discussion, the sharing, putting out in the culture that Filipinos are beyond what other people might have stereotyped us. So segue to this one, you have a full lot of love for traditional textiles and or the weaving creativity of the Filipinos. I wanted you to share and highlight when did you realize that this part of the Filipino culture needs to be known globally?
Well, as you said, I'm from South Carolina, and in South Carolina, there's a deep love for quilts. So
Mhm.
I know textiles are not quilts, but with that same mindset, they like fabric. So
Uh-huh.
I thought, how can I um, tell the South Carolinians about Filipinos, but like a whole varied, because the Filipinos is huge with different
Mhm.
traditions. I wanted them to see the variedness of the Philippines. So
Mhm.
I was able to talk with Habi, the Philippine Textile
Mhm.
Council, and they were able to help me curate uh, a collection, which I have been able to exhibit in different parts of the Southeast. So we've been to the textile exhibit has been first in South Carolina, then um, in Georgia, in Florida, and in North Carolina. So we've been able to go in many different places, and in that way, we were able to. I was able to collaborate with local Filipino American communities to create events around that exhibit. So
Oh,
I think it was very powerful because not only were we able to have the Filipino American community look at the textiles and
mhm.
learn more about their culture, but also people outside of that community, which in my work I think is very important because as an ambassador, I want to reach the people outside the community, not only the people inside the community.
Exactly. I think this is beyond our comfort zone, and how you're doing it is very, very practical approach, pragmatic approach, because it's usable, it's relatable. It's not something that, oh, you only have to wear this for cultural event. And look at how beautiful this is. And I know this lady, she's also a Facebook friend of mine, Miss Lydia, and I'm just so happy that you have engaged them and their group with respect to performing arts. I know that they're part of Kulintang, and then her husband is also very active. And I think I became Facebook friends with them before they had their child, and I know that they're passionate about this thing. So can you tell on what's the importance really of collaborating with performing artists, and even if they might not have indigenous people's roots in them, and or all of this affiliation, but because they are fired up because of their passion and because of their innate skills that they are expressing through music, through performing arts. Why is it important as a performing artist yourself?
Um, Well, as my role as a music and arts ambassador for my
Mhm.
community, it's very important to me to inspire the younger generation. And how
Mhm.
do I do that? So I'm always looking for artists, musicians, and scholars that can um, honor the tradition, but are able to inspire the younger generation through their passion. I
Yeah.
think you know, very intelligent people can have all the words, but
Mhm.
if they don't have the passion, that doesn't transcend inspiration. So I really love getting people in South Carolina who are so passionate, because that's what inspires. So the House of Gongs, I know
Mhm.
through their work, are very passionate about sharing about Filipino gongs. And
Mhm.
Lydia herself is very passionate about Indigenous dances. Um,
Mhm.
Not only are they passionate, but they have a lot of knowledge. So
Yeah.
when what this picture was during their workshop, and we had a bunch of Filipino American kids from the university, and they were just so excited to be there and learn how to dance, how to play the kulintang. And I'm hopeful that they will, one of the things that is important to me is giving access to topics that people wouldn't normally have. So by
Yes.
inviting them, I'm introducing something to these kids that maybe will inspire them to keep our heritage learning going in the state.
Alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for because the next generations are really like growing. The American diaspora, the Filipino American diaspora is like very, very extensively like, so I've met some of these people. I've met her, Miss Ellen, in some of the events. I became familiar now of those people that were able to be in the event where you have coordinated as well. And so beyond that, make us visible. You are also very passionate about sharing our stories and or the doing documentaries and being seen as a community, the Asian American experience as a whole. How, what's the driving force for you? Was there a point in your life that we are not as visible as we should be and we have to take action? We can start with South Carolina. So what's behind that kind of cultural advocacy?
Well, personally, I homeschooled my son. And
Mhm.
when I homeschooled him, like I said, I wasn't very curious about my Asianness, my
Mhm.
Filipino-ness. So he's now older in college. And so this is my way of giving back. I do think that um, as an immigrant, that I would like um, our children to learn more about the Asian American experience, because we are not just Asian, we are Asian American, and
Mhm.
Asian Americans themselves have a long history in the United States. The Philippines has had a permanent settlement in St. Malo. That was the first Asian permanent settlement in America, dating to the 1700s. The first Filipino was here in 1500s, with the galleon. I mean,
1987.
so that was even before the Mayflower set foot in what is now called the United States. So I think we have a very long history here. And so Make Us Visible is an organization that wants to um, uh, add Asian American contributions, experiences, and history in K to 12 classrooms. And I think that is
Awesome.
very important. Yeah.
That is very important because the world that we're living in right now is not only between black and white. There's so many color spectrums
Right.
in between. And I think uh, cultural appreciation and cultural understanding is going to be the foundation of diversity and inclusion initiatives.
But you know what? I've been talking to a lot of people, and when I go up to them and talk about Make Us Visible, I think the problem is um, the people who are in the power to change education policies. I think they get confused between culture and Asian American history, and I think they're totally different.
Mhm.
We can appreciate culture, but we do not need teachers to know about the different cultures. what we need in K to 12 is to learn about Asian American history. I think those are very different.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's shift into a very, very great interest of yours. And this one is really like something I appreciate the most because you are very much involved with producing the works like the Mangyan Ambahan. And I wanted you to share about this because Mangyan is one of the indigenous peoples groups of the Philippines. What is this? Why do this? And why you are very much passionate in documenting this specific indigenous peoples group, their relevance to the Philippines and outside the Philippines?
So, a couple from the Filipino American Association of Greater Columbia asked me to create an event about Mangyan. I did not know anything about Mangyan. Marianne actually connected me to the Mangyan Heritage Center through Lolita Delgado Fansler. And I got her book, which the Mangyan Heritage Center has won awards on because it took her 8 years to write. But basically, she compiled some Mangyan Ambahan, which are their sung poetry, and translated it into English, Tagalog, and Spanish. When I read their poetry, I was actually very moved, and I got teary-eyed because the words were so simple, yet the emotions in them were so deep. So I wanted to learn more about it. So I started interviewing the Mangyan Heritage Center Board of Trustees, and the more I learned about them, I wanted to create not only an audio podcast, but because I recorded their interviews, I wanted to turn it into a documentary. So basically, that's what I did, and I was very lucky to be able to screen it in various places, and we've won two film festival awards. Recently, we were just in the Global Nonviolent Film Festival, and I love that festival because it promotes peace and nonviolence, and the Mangyans definitely are peace-loving people, and that's why they were able to preserve their culture this long. I don't know how much your viewers know, but the Mangyan writing writing script is only one of four that is still used today. And it is used in their ambahan, which you see here in the bamboo inscriptions. They are beautiful poetry that have like 7 syllables per line, and each line will rhyme at the end. So it's like our version of haiku, the Japanese haiku. And it's interesting. This is at the National Museum of the Philippines. We were able to have an event there, which was so beautifully done because a Mangyan elder opened it with a prayer, and then we were able to do the screening of the documentary. The Mangyan Heritage Center folks had a Q&A, and after that, the museum put up an exhibit of the bamboo inscriptions that we talked about in the documentary. So it was a very impactful event. And also, we were able to win an award from the Endangered Alphabets Project on World Endangered Script Day. So that was very nice. So this project, which started out as an idea from South Carolina, has had a global impact. We also had an event based out of SOAS with the National Language Museum in Maryland, and the Endangered Alphabets Project based in Vermont. This was a private screening in Arthaland in the Philippines also, where I was able to attend. So it's amazing. The seed planted in South Carolina, there are fruits spreading all throughout the world, which was so nice for the Mangyan group. Yeah.
Yeah, this is from the project management perspective. How long from inception to implementation to closing, and then the international collaboration that you have to do because it engages key stakeholders different parts of the world. You have to engage SOAS based in London, Philippines, contacts here in the USA, and so other things. How were you able to create such a powerful project management team that are self-organizing and that are online collaborating because simply because you are from different region? How was that made possible?
Um, you know what? I think it's just pure passion. Um, uh, I guess I was given a job to do, and I just went with it. And with the help of the Mangyan Heritage Center, we were just uh, the the synergy was just so amazing. So I interviewed them summer of 2024. I finished the documentary by October 2024, and from that time to today, I've just been submitting to various film festivals and then collaborating like with Christina Juan and SOAS to create a virtual screening globally. It's just one step at another, one step at a time. I don't view it as a difficult job or something that requires so much planning. It just happened organically.
Awesome. This is just like part of all of these works. And I believe that it's going to be kind of like more of a traveling exhibit, virtual and or in person, if there's like an opportunity. But thank you. Maraming salamat for really like taking that idea, putting that idea into action and making it happen and engaging the people and honoring the very indigenous peoples group that this particular language and culture is still actively used, and I hope that younger generations among Mangyans are really able to preserve this as part of their community, as part of their language, as part of their specific culture. So for the younger generations who might be interested to learn more from what you have like done, what would be your message and our inspiration to them?
Well, I want the younger kids to know that there is Filipino excellence out there and that there is an authentic Filipino culture that will help them understand who they are and empowers them to claim um, and understand their identity more. And one of these things is to go and learn about the indigenous peoples
Mhm.
because there is so much depth, so much beauty in indigenous people's culture that a lot of people don't know about. So when I have these screenings about the Mangyan Ambahan, even in the Philippines, people in the audience, some of them do not have a clue about the Mangyans. They don't know that there are scripts, pre-colonial scripts that are still alive. They don't know that there are pre-colonial poetry that are still alive in the Philippines. There is so
Mhm.
much to learn. Um, and secondly, I want the Mangyans, the indigenous peoples themselves, to be so proud of who they are, their culture. A lot of what we see today about the Philippines does not touch upon indigenous peoples, but I think there is a movement now to find out the authenticity of who we are as Filipinos, and that has brought up a lot of indigenous people culture, textiles, um, writing poetry like this, and I think that's very important for the younger generations to know.
Exactly, because modernization, you cannot stop it. Technological advancements, you cannot stop it. But if our indigenous cultures are going to be endangered because of all of this advance of
Modernity.
modern civilization and or technological development and empowerment, that younger generations would not have any interest to foster what strength they have in their community. This is really going to be an endangered part of our culture and will only be a pleasure for so many people to see in a museum, not in a live action happening in the community. It will be a subject for sharing and or discussion, but not really uh, getting connected to the deep roots of where this part of the culture is still widely practiced, and this is really part of the lifestyle. Not because they have to showcase it to the world and order visitors and stuff, but that is their life, that is their community life. So bringing this part of the Philippines and focusing on the Mangyan on the international stage and international forums is really being very helpful that we Filipinos are diverse, and this is just part of our diversity and the language that our fellow Indigenous people, fellow people in the Philippines still have and still in practice. And they're very, very sustainable. I don't know if the bamboo is going to get dried up. What would happen to the text? Are they still readable? Are they
Well,
still like
that's
the
the
right
thing.
thing?
So it only survives for 30 years. So once it deteriorates, then the people have to rewrite it, in
Mhm.
another bamboo. Um, and that's how they were able to preserve the poetry. But I just wanted to say two things. And one escapes me, but Arjo, I think why I loved having you come to South Carolina is because you do all the things that you just said. You make the Blaan culture alive for people everywhere, and I think that's so important in your work.
Speaking of that one, now we're gonna shift. That is how we got connected. And so when Mom Marianne connected us through Facebook, we became Facebook friends. And then you shared that you're going to come here in Atlanta. And then I've connected you to a dear friend of mine, Miss Jane Rowland, wherein you're able to have some textile display in the museum. And this is where we get started. So tell me about this specific event that you brought in here in Georgia last April.
Yeah, so I just because of my textile collection, I
Mhm.
just wanted to be able to share it with other Filipino communities. So I found the Southeastern Quilt and Textiles Museum who were willing to have it on display. Um, and it was during the time when you also celebrate um, Filipino American I think day in Georgia. So that happened at the same time during
Yeah.
the exhibit. So
Mhm.
that's why I wanted to contact you through Marian Pastoroses. Yeah,
Awesome. So are these like part of your personal collections?
they all are. Yeah, they all are.
Wow.
So it's
How did
basically a summary because the Habi Philippine Textile Council wanted. So I have about 25 pieces. So
uh,
basically, it's a summary from Luzon to Mindanao. So
uh,
I have like the Ifugao, I have
mm,
Ilocos, I have the Visayas Patajong and the
mm,
Piña, and then I have the Mindanao. I have Tausug, Blaan, Tiboli,
Bali,
um yeah, so it's a, and then also yakan. So it's just a very basic summary, but I think because of that, um outsiders of the Filipino community and insiders can see the wealth of different materials. Like they don't really know what is abaca, what is piña. So it's nice for them to see what you can do with banana and pineapple fibers.
I'm really thinking through because, right now I'm having a 2-year agreement with the Atlanta Fernbank Museum for the blonde traditional textile and the outfit that my late grandmother made, which is now part of the Reflections of a Culture exhibition space. This is my second year of engagement with them. So Philippines is now represented through that collection. I'm wondering, and I'm very excited, maybe I really have to connect you to the Atlanta Fernbank Museum and we can bring your collections and my collections together into one. And if they would be willing to host and provide an exhibition space where we can loan our collections for a particular period of time.
That would be
And
wonderful.
you know and I think it can be happen on a Filipino American History Month. Maybe it can be next year because you have to prepare for a whole lot of this.
Exactly,
It's like a
exactly.
big project. It's not going to be like there are costs associated and all of these things, but this is really like open up the mind of I now feel like I'm not alone. I guess in Georgia I am kind of like your counterpart in the state of Georgia. When I first came here, what transpired me to be very active in having a cultural advocacy is that because even Filipino Americans that I met are afraid to come to Mindanao.
Ah,
Yes, they're afraid to come to Mindanao. And I said, like, okay, there is lots of stereotypings about Mindanao. So I said, like, I don't want them to get mad. I don't want them to be reactive, and I don't want them to be negative when people are expressing how they thought. But I said, I found the leverage of using this as an opportunity to do cultural education. So since 2007, I've just been sharing what I have from my own culture. I'm only speaking from my own particular culture because I've seen that I am not seen as a person from Mindanao with actually rich cultural diversity that I can share so that I can educate even Filipino Americans who have a different thought about when they hear about Mindanao. When they hear about the Mindanao, the word associated is that it's dangerous. They fear to come to Mindanao. They don't want it to go to Mindanao. There's no electricity in Mindanao. There's no refrigerator in Mindanao. Oh my God. I was like, oh my God. And sometimes it's so hard to dispel this mindset, and changing mindset can take time. So I said, like, I can share and start it from my own. So I was able to be part of Galing Foundation since then. And then I was able to be a volunteer with the Philippine Honorary Consulate. And I think our Honorary Consul General here, South Carolina, is still under his jurisdiction. So this partnership with Fernbank Museum is actually a partnership in collaboration with the Philippine Honorary Consulate General. So having you and having here, it's just a matter of time. Chiara, with Miss Jane Rowland, it's just really like a matter of time that we can have this same thing here in the heart of Atlanta.
I would
Because
love it.
you've done it already in the part of Georgia, but this bringing it to the heart of Atlanta and bringing it especially on one of the major events, either the Asian American Heritage Month, which happens in May, or during the month of June, where it's celebrating Philippine independence, and or the month of October because it's a Filipino American History Month. So
I
it's
would
just a
love
matter of
that.
time, and I think a grant process and everything, but this has really like just opened up my eyes. And because of this, I have not been to the museum because of the conflict of schedules and everything, like Miss Jane too. You were able to engage me recently, actually last October 4th, for celebrating the Filipino American History Month through a Blaan workshop. This is a whole big event. And then it was held at the Richland Library where you engaged and brought Ma'am Marian. This is part of their auditorium. So just a background, this was after we did a mini setup and mini exhibition. These photos right here are from my works before in Sarangani province, because as I said, I don't want it to be thinking for people to think that I am representing everyone. No, I have to be very specific that what I'm sharing is because of my lived experience, the work that I have done, and I can only speak about that. So for this one, the background actually is my late grandmother to aunt of my mom. She's a faglung player, which is the boat lute of the Philippines. And I was wearing the t-shirt Blaan because I'm very heavy on advocating how we should be called from our perspective, not from how people thought that this is our name. Because for so many years, documentation and everything, they thought that Blaan has an apostrophe after the B and any apostrophe after within the words. There's none. There was no letter that was taken out to be replaced by the functionality of apostrophe for contraction purposes. So it's just like Blaan, Blaan. So this is part of our advocacy. Every material that you have here is part of a representative of our Blaan culture. And again, I would like to say thank you to Richland Library. Thank you for engaging them. I know you are not in this event, but you have made it sure that the Filipino American Association of Greater Columbus will be there to make these things happen. So I also featured the two of the Blaan National Living Treasures. One of them is Fuya Bing. This is from the Agong magazine from the NCCA that I got, and I'm able to really like make use of them because, as I said, it's different when you are just talking about something than showing something of what you are talking about. So evidence based is always my kind of thing, and some of the textiles that I was able to share, and this is the beautiful Richland Library. I It's the most fascinating library so far that I have visited. You know, just as a statement of fact. I've been to some of the libraries here, but this Richland Library is really something. It's huge. And the
And it's
inter
award winning. We've won many awards.
Yes, yes, and it's like wow. Sometimes you just have to say library, just like a small one, but this one is huge, very highly interactive, lots of programming going on. It's very alive. It's very.
Yes.
It is something. It's a library that you wanted to go to.
Yes.
It's a library that you wanted to go to because it is very alive. It's very alive. And we had a very highly interactive session, just like you. Because there was a question: is it going to be a lecture type? And what did I said? I wanted it very interactive. Have the people touch the material themselves, have them feel, and even try on. So they really had fun. And then I also shared about the Blaan Lut and the Faglung that we have. I featured two of these artworks of Filipino Americans here based in Georgia, the flag, and then, of course, the American flag. So we're able to have, and then this is a group photo bus. It so happened at this particular week that my first collection of this is a work of the student of Fu Yabing, arrived after being held at the U.S. Customs for more than a week. It arrived on a Thursday, then prep it up for Friday, going to South Carolina Friday night, and presenting it to the public. So the first unveiling of a full-length Blaan Tabi presented by a Blaan happened in South Carolina. So to me,
Yes.
that is my Filipino American History Month milestone, already. And people were so fascinated how, the questions, the curiosity of how is it made, why it is made. So it was a very, very lively discussion. So thank
And by the way, Arjo, I had two people drive all the way from Jacksonville, Florida, just to come to your event.
Yeah. I hope I could have known before because I could have asked because all I thought they're maybe mostly basically from South Carolina. So this and
And yes.
I would say that Miss Allen was very, very, really helpful in all of that. So you are not physically present, but your presence is very much felt because of the leaders that you have engaged in this latest project of yours. So I would say this is your latest project. I am a stakeholder of this project, but you made it all happen. The preparation in the library, we had a when we came there, the guards were very accommodating, make sure we know we are guided where to go. Miss Ashley from the Richland Library is very helpful, providing all of those tables because I requested only two. Well, it so happened that the two table is not enough. So we ended up, I think, four or five. And we were not even able to put everything that I brought.
Wow.
Yeah, we were just able to just like prioritize on one, but it was a very highly interactive one. I could not say anything more. An appreciation to Miss Ellen and the whole team. It might be that's just us doing the selfie right here, but she is a representation of the whole leadership and the organization of the Filipino American Association of Greater Columbus.
Colombia. Yeah.
Yeah, Colombia. That's like it's very very, very much heartwarming to see a person passionate and also very interested to learn more. And even the males, these male participants, they are very inquisitive, which is very, very unique because most of the time this kind of talk is only for the females. And the president of your organization,
Nieves, Ate
yes,
Nieves.
yes, yeah, she's very, very much overwhelmed of all of these things present because you might they might have seen a textile of yours, but I don't know if they have seen this
Long one, yes.
long one that is a whole panel. So I have to explain to them that the skirt that I used, if it is unfolded, it is long, but even longer because the part of it is for my daughter. So I wanted to say, Miss Kiara, the impact of the work that you do is really like beyond your curiosity. And because of that curiosity that you have and the commitment that you so um, aspired for others to know, it has gone beyond your love for singing. It has gone beyond your love for storytelling. It has gone beyond your aspirations that more people has to know the Filipino culture beyond what they only see and or think about. So you are really an international cultural diplomat
Well,
in
thank you, Arjo. That's not
in
what
a
I thought
way.
I'd do, but I guess that's the job, that I was given.
Mhm. I
I
would love for you to meet our Philippine Honorary Consul General. And actually, today is his birthday. We'll be going there to celebrate him today. I'm gonna share to him about this. I'm gonna share this as well to Miss Jane. And let's see how, because South Carolina is still part of his area of jurisdiction, how can we engage you here in Atlanta?
Oh, we would love it. We would love it.
Yeah. So with that, I wanted to say thank you, maraming salamat. So I wanted to give you the whole time to really share your final thoughts and any message that you think a reflection of anything that you would be able to say to our Filipino American community, Americans, and everyone else who wanted to know about the Philippine culture.
I guess I just wanted to say, culture diplomacy was a very big deal in the questions that you had, and I wanted to say that art is a universal language. Unlike political agendas that can be very divisive, I
Mhm.
believe art can unite everyone. It touches the hearts and souls of people, and that really connects people to one another. And as you say, your favorite term is soft power, right? Art
Yes.
is a soft power that is very magical because it
Mhm.
bridges communities, it builds communities, and it allows people to live in harmony. I guess
Mhm.
it touches the hearts and souls. That's
Mhm.
the magic of the arts.
Mhm. And soft power is not just really like a word and or a buzzword. It is really a framework on how international relations is fostered and or how countries are actually operating. Each of the different countries has their different soft power. It's either through cuisine, it's either through performances. Just imagine having a diplomatic engagement and or take a look at this global and international diplomatic affairs. If it is not all business type, usually they start with cultural presentation of both countries. It because it is important to set the tone of that conversation so that the conversation will be more relaxed, more attuned to the interest of the different countries. So as our role in a way in the community is to foster that understanding, to foster that appreciation, because without appreciation, without understanding, it is hard to move forward and do a win-win situation, even if the diplomatic talk might be very, 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 very difficult. So you can find to leverage somewhere, somehow, where strengthen your commonalities while also respecting your differences. And to me, I also apply that not because in the cultural advocacy that I do, but also because of the engagement to other people with other people, even if you have fundamental differences, but your commonality is more than what your fundamental differences do have. So I always take a look at that bright side, and on my end I have collaborated very much well for people that I have other fundamental disagreements with. And that's the beauty of it, because you can move forward with greater things that you're really, really passionate. And for the ones that, because you have fundamental differences, you show humanity that you respect each other and that you have your individual take on matters and or issues. But I think culture is very unifying. Arts is very uplifting. Advocacy is very common to all. And we need, I think, we need more Filipinos who will be speaking more about us Filipinos speaking about us and representing about us. And that, as you say, will speak more to authenticity, being realistic and being grounded and evidence based. We're not just talking for the sake of talking. We hope that, this documented, we are both passionate of documenting things because this can transcend our lifetime here on earth, our next generations, their next generations. As long as we are sharing this conversation of ours, and then the public has access to it, they will be able to maybe, hopefully, take an inspiration and take action for the things that they can even do greater. We've started something, but it doesn't mean that it cannot be done better.
Yes,
We've
absolutely.
started something that people and other next generations can do so much better given the advancement of the technologies they have, the access that they have, the partnership and the networking that they have. But they know they have a template that yes, we can. Yes, together it can be done better. Like us, the two of us, we have not met yet in person, but because of our common bond and because we focus on our common interest, we were able to share the Filipino culture in your state of South Carolina and in the city of Colombia, of who we are as Filipino Americans and our roots as Filipinos. So with this one, Miss Chiara, maraming salamat. Maraming salamat to Ma'am Marian for connecting us both. And I said, it's just a matter of time that we will also have you here in Georgia and then in Atlanta specifically. And this collaboration of ours will even be strengthened the more because the passion to have it beyond the corners and the comfort zone of the Filipino American organizations is going to be the next step. You know, if we were able to engage and you were able to engage non-Filipino American organizations and our partners, it can really be done. It's just really a matter of time and devoting to it and the resources that we need to make it happen and the people who will be supporting it because they have the authority and they have the power and they have the linkage. So I believe that we are in a good hands and we are safe with our common passion and there's a brighter future ahead of us. So maraming salamat for really being a great a person as you are and the passion that you are doing and the sacrifices that you also have to make because using your own resources is also a big part of it. I wanted to share for the last part your website. So I wanted to share muna about your website. Let me see. I'm going to try to share my screen. Okay, see this 2025. I wanted to share your website for those who let me see 2025. Are you able to see this thing?
Yes,
So
yes.
this is the website of for everyone who might not have known. So you just have to go visit chiaracox.com. This is how the look of her website is like. That is home her advocacies. So lots of this we've shared earlier for the things that she has done and documented. Benji Manuel,
Yes. So
I
we
have
help.
not met him in person, but let's see. Let's see if we can play this. Oh, perfect. Let's watch Benji.
Oh, there's no volume.
There, I can have it. I have it. Mhm. Mm. Everything. Mm. Yeah. This is so nice. I actually saw that when they did a turnover, the visit of Mom Marian,
Yeah.
the one who gave them the thing. And I really love it when you are sharing. This is so right. This is from the indigenous peoples.
Yes.
Tumutul. That is like a house where you have to talk, where you have to collaborate. There's a mediation happening. That is mutul. Same, we Blaan and Wallis were very kind of like sister, almost like twin IP groups. So see our words, Boli. We have lots of consonant, then vowel. That's why it's not that I am against apostrophe. It's just that it is not needed. Don't put it there because it's not needed.
I
Because if
see.
you're gonna put it there, then if you're gonna follow the conventional use of these apostrophes, then you will pronounce it differently.
I see.
So it's not that I am against apostrophe. No, I am against the use of it improperly, to putting it to a word context that would distort
The
how
words.
the words, because people will follow the convention of how it is being used. So I really appreciate it, Mutul. That is right. Consonant in our thing, consonant, vowel. Most of our words are still like that. So for people, this is lots of things that you can really learn from the engagements that Miss Kiara is, and I really appreciate on how she is able to follow through. Miss Kiara, I actually also have a website and a blog, but because I did not have time, it's hard when you have to do websites because you have to update them,
Yes.
manage them, and all of these other things that you have to do. The music that she does, so lots of these things. So you get to know more about the works, the engagement that she does, and maraming salamat. Now I would have more time to really go over, advocate, share this YouTube clicks in my Facebook, and just really advocate. I am a person that is very passionate about lifting up others because I believe that when there's more of us, it will be much better. It will be, better for all of us, really. So these were ones of the photos and videos that we were able to share. She has a whole lot in here, and you can really see the artistry in you, the passion in you, and we hope that we would have more of you here in Atlanta. So this is the website of Miss Kiara, and get to know her more in LinkedIn. She's also on LinkedIn, and I'm gonna post and share this video on LinkedIn. It's not about clicks and bytes and or followers. Our goal is document it, archive it, put it in medium where we can share it publicly, and have the public have access to it now, tomorrow, or in the future. We might not know. But at least among so many voices and so many noises out there, with the use of social media, we can say that we are very much responsible in our use of social media, and we are very intentional on how we use it. And we wanted to engage others to join and or take the respective action that each one of us is a cultural ambassador of our own community, of our own family, and there's so much worth in our stories that we can share even among our friends, circle of friends, even among our neighbors. So with that one, Miss Karen, maraming salamat talaga. And I'm very happy that we did this on this Indigenous Peoples Month and Filipino American History Month in the state of Georgia. So it's twinning. You are not an Indigenous person, but you are passionate in elevating us, Indigenous person. And for me, being half Blaan, I don't take it lightly. I don't take it lightly that I'm seeing a person that has so much common passion as I do. And I don't mind collaborating with you in future projects. As long as I'm available, I'm able, and I can get it done, I don't have any problems with that one. So thank you for engaging me to South Carolina. That is my first out of state. I've been doing this cultural advocacy since 2007, but that is my first out of state of Georgia event.
Wow. Well,
So
we were so happy. You were our celebration for Filipino American History Month. So thank you so much. And Arjo, it's been a pleasure getting to know you. I love what you're doing, and I admire everything that you do. So I'm happy to know you, and I'm happy to be your friend, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much.
yes, and maraming salamat to Ma'am Marian for the connectivity.
Yes, absolutely.
So many common friends. My goal is like at least in our lifetime that we can be in one frame, one space, one fantastic event in our lifetime. But maraming salamat again. And thank you so much for being part of ACT International Consulting Leadership Speaker Series. It's an honor to have you, Miss Chiara Cox, or just Chiara, as you say. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Arjo.